Let's move now to the Money Desk. Devin Murugan joining us. Hello, Devin. So Dis-Chem showing some good results, but of course I think that issue of that memo that was sent out about transformation targets is still weighing heavy, I would imagine, to a certain extent, over the company.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm going to put that question to the CFO in a moment. But let's start there. Pharmacy and Healthcare Retail Group. Dis-Chem back at pre-COVID trading levels. Its interim results showing group revenue growth up by just more than 9%. This is the threat of the pandemic recedes. Now, Rui Morais is the Chief Financial Officer. He joins me now. Rui, thanks very much indeed for chatting to us. So consumer shopping habits and routines are returning to those pre-COVID-19 levels. Are they buying more profitable items as they move away from COVID-related purchases? Is that the story behind the results, or is there more?
Evening, Devin. So I think that sums it up quite well.
Yeah.
Essentially, if you look at the performance of both our revenue line and our total income line, which houses transactional margin, we were definitely influenced by a recovery from the COVID landscape. So higher contributing margin categories like beauty, sports, they delivered higher growth than the rest of the business. And we also saw very similar themes in the dispensary category, where you saw acute medication being dispensed, things that related to travel, for example, coming back. We saw increase in self-medication. I think generally the concept of and importance of healthcare with respect to wallet spend has been highlighted by the COVID pandemic. And we're seeing those principles kind of driving top line and transactional margin growth.
And that was it really, wasn't it? Because, I mean, those items that were not COVID-related are generally just more profitable for a company like Dis-Chem, and you're seeing a return to that.
Correct. So we're seeing for the first time in 2 years what looked like a very normal contribution or category contribution across our group. We do see an element of polarization of spend, so we do see details in our trading patterns that talk to consumers becoming more and more value conscious. We see a collection of transactions around pay cycles or monthly pay dates, more so than we've seen in the past. But I think we're well positioned, as a brand, considering the investment in price we make and the service that we bring to our patients and customers.
Rui, that period when the memo went out on the freeze on hiring white staff, and I'll get to that in a moment, did you notice a drop in sales in that period? I think it was just after mid-October.
So we did see a slight compression in our growth trend from the 17th of October to the 24th. That was essentially around the heightened social media traction that the memo got. I think the clarification memo from the board, which essentially spelled out the fact that there was no moratorium in place, and what we are striving to do was just to comply to the spirit of the Employment Equity Act. I mean, we are a big organization. Transformation is at the heart of our strategic intent. If you think about our delivery of care, our broader medical insurance product, and kind of opening up private healthcare to more and more South Africans, it's crucial that transformation lives and equity as a principle lives, at the core of our business. So post the clarification memo, we've seen a recovery and a return to the profitability growth that all the growth that we had seen in our turnover, apart from those 8 days where we were slightly impacted.
Yeah, I asked the question because there were so many calls around boycotting when that had happened. Can you tell us, this evening, what led to CEO Ivan Saltzman sending that memo out in the first place? Just set us up in the context here.
So I think, if we look at the principle behind the memo, initially the memo was poorly worded, and I think that was the message that the board put out. It was also factually incorrect around the moratorium. There was no moratorium, but where it did come from, and the core of the memo was almost a level of frustration as to, some of the investment that we have made along the other, call it transformation channels, enterprise development, supply development. And as an organization that's got growth, it gives us the opportunity to transform. And we felt, and certainly Ivan felt that, that was not happening as fast as it could be. And I think it was that frustration that ultimately came out in the memo. But there were factual inaccuracies in the memo, and we corrected that as a board. And I think it's important that the position, that is reflective of the board and the business is to comply with the spirit of the Employment Equity Act and continue on this transformation path. It's not something that is you define year on year. It's an improvement process. And I think, as I said, we're a South African corporate with a good growth profile, and we have a responsibility to deliver that.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I mean, but some would argue, could that drastic action not be avoided with better internal policies and planning on transformation? I stand to correction here, but is it not that 9 of every 10 top and senior managers at the retailer are white?
Sure. So, yes, that would have been from an employment equity perspective. And I think, as I said, our focus is on the transformation improvement. So, to your point made earlier, I think, as we said, the internal processes weren't followed, and it should have been. And when we apologize and we regret that memo falling into the public. But the heart of the memo and the principle around transformation is important. And that is the exact problem. We have the ability to transform, and we need to transform to change that landscape and that picture, taking into account that many of the senior managers come with long tenure and expertise in both the health aspect of our business and the front shop aspect of our business.
All right, and as I let you go, Rui, Solidarity had threatened legal action. Any conversation with them? Have they filed anything to your knowledge?
So to my knowledge, they haven't filed anything. Their legal processes for that, and we'll let the legal process run its course. I think we've made it clear as to our position, and certainly the retraction of some of the factual inaccuracies of the memo, and obviously apologize for how poorly worded it was. But to date, nothing has been filed on us, and we've made our stance quite clear. So, if we need to, we'll go through the appropriate legal processes.
Oh, well, thanks very much indeed. Rui Morais is the Chief Financial Officer at Dis-Chem. Thanks.